Hello and welcome back to Women's Football Talk. So let's jump right into this week's recap. So like I said, on Friday we had the Women's FA Cup here in England and we had the DFB Pokal in Germany, as well as league games in France, Spain and Italy. So let's get right into the Women's FA Cup action here in England. And we had two fantastic ties took place this weekend between Manchester United and Brighton, and then Aston Villa versus Chelsea. So let's start off with the game that took place on Saturday between Manchester United and Brighton. A thrilling game at Leeds Sports Village. Manchester United ended up winning by 3-2, and it was a really close game throughout those times where you thought Brighton were going to be able to win it, and then obviously other times where you thought Manchester United were going to be able to run away with the game. Things got off to a bad start for Manchester United, conceding a goal just before half time. A goal went in and it claimed off Mary Earps. Obviously unfortunate mistake for the Lionesses goalkeeper, but United were able to right their wrong pretty much straight away after the break. Leah Galton continuing her incredible form, puts United in front, and then there was a bit of a lull in the game as each side would continue to wage out. And considering this was Melissa Phillips' first game in charge, Brighton looked really well structured in it and definitely were creating Manchester United many problems that I think people were unaware that Brighton were able to do. There was a few times obviously in the game in the league before the international break where they looked a bit dangerous, especially Katie Robertson, as I mentioned in the preview. But yeah, this looked like a more rejuvenated Brighton side than what we saw under Jens Scheuer, to be honest. Then with 20 minutes to go, Alessia Russo put Manchester United in front. However, that lead did not last long as Danielle Carter poured a second goal back for Brighton and Hove Albion with 15 minutes left on the clock. So it was going to be one where you're thinking, is this going to go all the way to extra time, if not penalties? However, in the last minute of regulation time, Rachel Williams steps up for Manchester United to score again, and she's proven an absolute phenomenal signing and a key player for Mark Skinner's side this season, with the amount of impact she's having continuously off the bench. Sometimes you think, oh, is she doing enough to bargain her way into a starting 11 position? But then other times you're like, actually it's better to have a player like her coming off the bench and proving her worth and getting the goals for Manchester United in those situations. So yeah, congratulations to Mark Skinner's side, who are into a first ever Women's FA Cup final in their short history of being a professional club once again. And then on to Sunday's fixture between Aston Villa and Chelsea at the Bescott Stadium. A very even game throughout the whole 90 minutes, and both teams had chances. For me, Chelsea were slightly the better side and managed to get the goal through Sam Kerr just before the hour mark. However, Villa definitely put their swords up against Chelsea's and made it a real tough battle for Emma Hayes' side. I think the one thing that did let Villa down was the fact that Carla Ward's side, they seemed to be trying to pass the ball into the net rather than trying to do too much finishing from a bit of distance. So that is what was letting them down, and the fact that obviously the quality in the players is still big, considering Chelsea's injuries at the back with Millie Bright and Kadesha Buchanan being out injured. So that is full credit to Carla Ward's side, though, put up a fantastic performance, and like I said, took Chelsea a lot to break them down, and they weren't as clinical as many may have expected them to have been. But a win's a win for Chelsea, and now they go through to the final to face Manchester United on the 14th of May. I don't know whether kickoff has been fully decided yet, so that's Sunday the 14th of May. Now, before we move on to looking at the European games, there is obviously a WSL game this week between Manchester United and Arsenal. And Arsenal put out a bit of breaking news earlier on today saying that Kim Little will miss the rest of this season due to a hamstring injury, which obviously isn't good for Arsenal as they are still playing in two competitions this season. So it's going to be interesting to see how they fill that void with Kim Little now being such a key player for United side, now being out for the rest of the season. So let's go over to the DFB Pokal in Germany, and it was a big win for VfL Wolfsburg, as they absolutely smashed Bayern Munich 5-0 on Saturday. One-sided performance as you'll get. Svindisjana Jonsdottir scoring a brace for Wolfsburg, and throughout that whole game you could just see how easy it was for Tommy Struth's side to get the victory, and it was no surprise considering their form in the competition, how well they would do. And for me, they are the strongest side, obviously, in terms of winning the cup competition there in Germany for the DFB Pokal. The second game took place on Sunday between RB Leipzig and SC Freiburg, and it took until the 96th minute for Freiburg to get a winner. And however, they obviously won't care, because a winner at any time of the game is best. And Hazrat Kaichi with the goal. Fantastic for Freiburg to be in the final. However, like I said, Wolfsburg are going to be the strong favourites going into the final. Right, let's have a look at the fixtures across Europe, and obviously Barcelona continue to dominate Liga F with a 4-0 victory over Atletico Madrid on Saturday. Comfortable again for Jonathan Heraldes' side, as they've now made it 60 consecutive wins in a row without losing. So once again proving that there is a massive golfing difference between the two sides in La Liga and Barcelona. Elsewhere, Levante won 3-1 against Villarreal, and Real Madrid won the same scoreline against Real Betis. So they are the big scores there in Spain. And over in France, PSG and Lyon continue to battle out for the title, as both teams once again won. Lyon beating Paris FC by 2-0 with Sinye Brun and Vanessa Gilles scoring the goals for Sonia Bampasta's side, whilst PSG managed to beat Guingamp by 1-0 with Grace Gioro scoring the key goal there. And then finally, over in the Italian league, Juventus beat Fiorentina by 4-3 in an absolute thrilling game there, and league leaders AS Roma showed their dominance by beating Inter Milan 6-1. So again, AS Roma are closing in on their first ever title in Italy, and could do it in the next week or two, I believe. So that is it for this week's cup competitions and league ones. Final mention in the KNV Beker in the Netherlands. The final will be between PSV and FC Twente, after those sides won the semi-finals this weekend as well. Right, we'll be back with the rundown later on this weekend to look ahead to the semi-finals of the UEFA Women's Champions League as they take place later on this week, and obviously we'll have our usual NWSL talk out on Tuesday, looking back at all the action across the states. In the meantime, make sure you like and subscribe, and that you are following us on our social media pages, Twitter and Instagram, so you never miss anything that happens out in the world of football. In the meantime, we'll see you soon.